John 1:14 reminds us, kind of talks about Christmas from a cosmic perspective. It says, so the Word, that's referring to Jesus, the eternal creator, all-knowing God who made you, this Word, Jesus, became human or flesh like us. He came down here and he made his home among us. That word means he came and to dwell among us, be with us, pitch his tent, move into our neighborhood so that he could be near. And it says he was full of unfailing love and faithfulness. And we've seen him, the glory of the Father, the Father's one and only Son. And then when the angel spoke to Joseph about the birth of Jesus, he said in Matthew 1, that virgin is going to conceive a child. He's quoting from the Old Testament. She will give birth to a son, and what were they going to call him? Just as the prophet said, Emmanuel, which means God is with us. God with us. I'm not going to be with my parents and my extended family this Christmas for the first time in my life. Probably some of you are going to be distant or not having those kind of celebrations as well. But aren't you glad that God is still with us through Jesus? Everything about Jesus is about being with us, coming near us. When he called his disciples, the Bible says he called them to be with him. And his whole life was about being with people. He traveled and he'd go be with people, the lonely, the hurting, the outcast, the disciples, Pharisees, everybody. He was with them. And then at the end of his life, he wrapped it all up by saying in Matthew 28, surely I am with you always. And he was talking not just to them, but to us. Like it continues now, not just back then, but now with us. So what does that mean amidst bad news of 2020? Well, it means this. It means that no matter how distanced and driven apart we may feel, no matter how cut off or alone you might be as a result of this, how sick of everything you are, none of that affects God one bit, because God has come near in Jesus. And through his life and death, and because he's risen again, he's alive again and still with us. And he promises that by faith, we can invite him into our hearts, our minds, that he will take up residence within us and fill us with his own Spirit. I want to live with that awareness more fully in a distanced world, and you should too. It means that God is not some distant, aloof being, but he's close and he's intimate and he's a friend, and we can experience it every day no matter what we're going through. This is not just some news for a few people who might be kind of especially struggling with what's going on right now. This is news for all of us. This is news for lonely people. This is news for people who are hurting, for someone who's like struggling to be celibate and sexually pure, but there's an ache and a loneliness. This matters if God has come near. This is for someone who's single and struggling with it, or married and feeling so alone in that marriage. This fact that God has come near is a game changer for someone who's a service woman or serviceman in our armed forces somewhere right now, maybe Iraq or Afghanistan, who knows where, far away from family. God is near. This is for some college kids that are more homesick than you're too embarrassed to admit it. It's for middle schoolers who are glad you're not back in school because that cafeteria is the loneliest place on the planet. And it's for middle-aged people who like are busy and all the time going, but you don't have anyone who's a good friend. God is near. This makes a difference. It's for people who are guilt-ridden and shame-filled and far from God. You feel like your faith is fake. God is near, and you don't have to live on the other side of the glass from God.